quitter la vie. Apprécier ça, yo ka fait qu'on yo a parmi nous jodi. Là c'est mauvais valet, bien non, nous ka consider mon épi.
Pleasant good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Eastern Caribbean. Bienvenue à tout le monde, tout le monde. À tout que la Dominique et aux Antilles, c'est un grand plaisir que nous disons bienvenue, messieurs. Nous disons bienvenue. Part 2 in a very special program. And with us, ASP Weeks, we heard the first part. We heard of his actual life story, genesis into the actual police force and some of the challenges faced there, and touched on several areas of concern on we as a people in Dominica going through several challenges, several issues. He's back with us, part 2, and he actually insisted that we start with a prayer. So let's do so. We say good morning to ASP Wicks.
Good morning, Father, your God. We give you thanks. We give you praise. We thank you for your goodness, your love, your mercies, indeed your grace. We thank you, Lord, for having spared us throughout the night. We weren't consumed, even if the enemy sought to have sifted us, but you advocated, you prayed, and we're here to give you the glory and the honor. This morning, we commit this program into your hands. We give you our body, mind, spirit, and soul. Take full control. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. From the reports, several people globally seem to have enjoyed and was kind of taken aback at several of your areas of your life, upbringing, and even as a professional, the values that you had to, endure. And good vibes, all in all, good vibes. Yeah, I suspect you were caught up for a few minutes at the court.
Yeah, well, good morning again to you, Addicts, and my friends, and good morning to Dominica. Good morning to those in the diasporic community. It's always a pleasure to interface with our people, to have honest chats on this platform, in this media, and all of it is to edify us, despite whatever it is. Also, say good morning for the enemies as well. We must bless them and pray for them, because no matter how good you do or what you intend to do as being good, you always have those, what we call in the Bible, the Sanballats and the Tobias. You have that. When Nehemiah was given instructions to redevelop and build the walls, and then you had the Sanballats and Tobias, but of course he had God on his side, and he had a spectacular victory. Indeed, the response was super. The feedback, to be more precise, by everybody, they thought that it was a good piece of conversation. They spoke to me. Many people spoke to me while training, while running. And as we said, it's not about show, but just be honest and just speaking, because it's all people. People have gone through different things in lives, and how they handle pressure and the pressures of life, and when God is in it, take it from me, weapons will be formed, weapons will be arrayed, but God will shield you. The blood of Jesus is enough. You will be immunized. I like to say that, or inoculated. You'll be inoculated, and you won't be infected by negativity, because that is very rampant and commonplace in the land of the living.
Absolutely. And we are here with the kind compliments of DG Cell, and we really want to thank DG Cell for actually sponsoring our program today. And we are also live on the QFM Facebook page. So in case you want to view the handsome features of ASP Wicks, looking fit as a fiddle, continues to look fit as fiddle. You could look, check us out on the QFM Facebook page. When we left with a particular question we would like to revisit and actually possibly get your response on it. Do you feel that you have been victimized by the system?
Well, I do not know if I was victimized in a sense of the way the question is crafted. I'll tell you what, in life, sometimes it's been said that life is unfair, it's unjust. When I took an oath in 1983, the 15th of August, about 10:30 in the morning, before the legendary O.N. Philip, who is now deceased, I never saw on that oath, or when I had to repeat the oath after the commissioner, that you're entering the police force to be promoted. I said that and I confirm it, that allegiance to the Commonwealth of Dominica, the government and people of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to serve without fear, without favor, malice, or forethought. The truth, you give your all to the state, and that I've done for 40 years. And even after retirement, if the Lord spares me with good health, divine health, and physical health, I will still do so fearlessly. I remember many years ago, prior to entering the force, my stepfather, now deceased, he always said the police force is an honorable place, the institution. He also said in patois, Tiboy, ousa ale an foa, me Claude mwen ka vete ou pa fe moun méchanceté, et puis pas jamais oublier là ou sorti. Ellis Florent, Elias Sachs, and my comrades from Mao, my people from Mao, would remember that gentleman who was my stepfather at Le Point. And I've never forgotten that. These two limbs, what he imparted. And I lived with it. This is why I can give my testimonies over to the people, especially the young people who would hear, to make them know that there's hope. So in terms of victimization, I work in such a way that my work speaks. And from a constable to where I am today, I believe in brutal honesty, in brutal integrity. I believe in being untainted. I believe in operating uncompromisingly, unashamedly, unabashedly. And all of this is, one, I work as unto the Lord and not unto man. Because if you got to depend on man for you to exist or succeed, I'm almost sure you would be destroyed in a quick time. So if you give your body, mind, spirit, and soul and the work, because the energy, the brain, the wisdom that you get it from God. He is the one who gives you the power to get wealth, to be rich, if you like. And the richness is not necessarily materialism or material things. Richness in wisdom, richness in excellence, in a good spirit, an elegant spirit, an infectious spirit. That's what it is. So I learned to serve and meet all kinds of people from my career: the rich, the poor, the sick, the volley, the rasta, the ballhead, the politician, the priest, the mentally ill, all of these people, and we've got to work with them. I saw them in the courtroom. I spent more than half of my career as a prosecutor in the criminal investigations department, in the training school, all types of people. And then, of course, especially when I got my calling over 20-something years ago, it even went more profoundly that I could be a minister of the word and speak the word and apply God's principles in the execution of my duties. So sometimes people believe that when words or when there are utterances that the feathers are ruffled, or people perceive or spectacularly misconstrue utterances or even your actions, and when indeed it's genuine. Now I'm consoled by these kinds of behavior, in the sense that the Jesus Christ whom we love so much and say that we love in this country, he did so well and continues to do well. He did no harm. He knew no sin. He had no sin. And see all what he did for man. He brought deliverance. He healed. And then he was crucified. The very same people whom he healed, whom he delivered, whom he set free. 1 week they were saying, Hosanna in the highest. And the other week they were saying, give us Barabbas instead. Crucify him, crucify him. So what I would leave with this is, you do your work as unto the Lord. I forgot about you're being remunerated or paid for the job. If you're looking for payments for the job that you'll do, you will always say it's not enough. But I think it's all about job enrichment. You love what you do. You are serving. And as I tell you, most of us from government started as a wealthier child. And I feel that it's about giving back to society, and particularly the young people who are deprived, who are indigent, who are marginalized. I look out for people like this, and to let them know there's hope. Do not remain in the oceans of hopelessness and disillusionment, but hold on to the unchanging hands of the Lord, and he will see you through. So in terms of victimization, whoever would seek to victimize a child of God, that's their business. Whether they've got the power, whether they do not have the power, I do not seek to perceive or even find out if that is so. Everybody has a conscience. What is important is serving the people clean, clinical, pure, and then when you do that, you can go home and stretch your legs and sleep well, because plenty of us cannot sleep well, Wadics. No, son, it would be 10
But within your experience at the Commonwealth of Dominican Police Force, are you satisfied with the way that officers are promoted? I mean, is there any outside interference, political interference?
Well, that is beyond me. I mean, in relation to talking about fairness or injustice or what is just. I mean, the system is governed by statutory institutions and so forth. And as I told you, I alluded to, is that you've got your work to do, and it does not necessarily mean, even if you work excellently and you're recommended, it does not necessarily mean that you'll be promoted, whether for whatever influence or sway or whatever it is. My encouragement, even to my peers, my subordinates, is to continue to work. In fact, when the West Indies, look at our young Afanas who is doing so well, and he's knocking on the door. But what do we do? Do we say because he had not played in South Africa, that man, forget about this thing, don't play any cricket anymore? No, man, go and play. So what do? We embarrass the selectors. So eventually, and we pray God pretty soon, pretty imminently, he'll be picked. The same principle can be applied here. In terms of the people who make the decisions in elevating people, all of them, I'm sure, would have a conscience. The institution or the body of people doing that, and I think in the deliberate judgment, it ought to be deliberate, it ought to be clean, it ought to be fair. But at the end of the day, I want to remind us that if you're looking for fairness, it is in the book of Ecclesiastes as well as in Proverbs. It says, not even in the halls of justice you'll get justice itself. What my encouragement, I continue to encourage us that we have to continue working as it is. And I told you in the first question that you asked, when I took the oath for me to serve. It's service, public service, and to do it with a passion so that people can be edified, people can be relieved, people can be delivered. And then what's the legacy as a police officer or as a nurse or a doctor do you want to leave? How do you want to leave the organization? Do you want to leave the organization as somebody who had been tainted or had been a volley or had questionable conduct? Or do you want to leave an indelible print on the mind of the institution that you are attached to, or the very same people that you serve, so that at least somebody can say, yes, when this man was there, he did that, and that impacted on me or my children, and it impacted on the institution.
You have had aspirations of actually leading the Commonwealth of Dominican Police Force? Any aspirations?
When a man or a woman gets into an organization, he always looks forward. I wouldn't use the word elevated. He always looks forward to move on. He always looks forward to brighter things in the organization. You have some people who might and don't be gobsmacked by that. I remember a friend of mine many years in the UK. We were speaking, and it was said she said that I don't want promotion. I'm good. I'm good how I am. There's some people who do not want the responsibilities. On easy lies the head that wears the crown. You're good as a foot soldier. And you've got those who have an undying, voracious appetite to be elevated to the celestials, and perhaps maybe they might be competent in doing the job or not competent in doing the job. So we have our likes and we have our dislikes. So I think I would just answer this question by saying I just continue to do my work, and any opportunity that is being given to me, no matter what it is, I just put my best foot forward with the assistance of the Lord.
Okay, let's move across to the evangelical side of you. I know you're an evangelist.
Yeah.
apart from being an astute and professional police officer. By the way, you'll be retiring.
My retirement will be next year, God willing, officially. But a few of us got our walking papers.
So you'll be...
to put it mildly. So many of us, about 7 of us, if not more, should be leaving in the last quarter of the year, starting from about August, September, October. So a core, and I'm talking about very great men, good men, myself, Mr. Daniel, our dear chief of police, my classmate Clem Bruno, a few others, and then early next year as well. So we're just passing through. We were on the platform for all of these years, and we have done our share, if you like. We have served, and if God continues to bless us in whatever way that we can continue to contribute meaningfully, I'm sure we'll do that.
We have seen the deterioration of our moral and social values in Dominica. Even the music that we consume, I mean, we touched on it slightly last week, but this is, an invasion is now taking place, especially before young people. And in particular, the subject is the woman. And the people that consumes it most are the women. Any concerns as an evangelical to see from where we were with our music? And you remember the days of the cadence and the early days of the bouillon. We have gospel, we have Nassia Fontaine, and this sort of music coming from Dominica and bringing our music far and wide and bringing us a level of status, giving us the authenticity to even have the World Creole Music Festival. We now see the decadence. We now see the music into a different level where explicit sexual language is now within our music. Well, what's your opinion?
Well, I mean, the music simply it's not clean. I mean, whoever is producing it knows for a fact that it's not clean. Now, you'll say, you think of the economic base, so especially the young people, and as you said, the women like it, they gyrate to it, maybe violently too, especially their posterior, how they go.
This is the latest dance. That's the latest dance.
This is the latest dance. The way they swing their posterior is ascending to the celestials. So that just tells you the rhythmic movement can maybe even dislocate their hash, if you like. So it's not clean. No, that's where socialization comes in. That's where parents come in, because our not only women, but you see our youngsters as well. The 10-year-olds are reciting the songs. They recite it well. They might not recite their school book good as this. So I think writers and producers and composers may have to look at this very seriously. In fact, there's a group, I think they'd written to the authorities about, echoing or lamenting on the kind of music and the lyrics and so on. I don't think they've had any response yet from the authorities.
I mean, is that concerning? ASP Wicks, I mean, the deafening silence. You see in the prevalence of this. It's an invasion out there. I mean, at the bars and the vehicles. We saw it for Carnival. And there's a deafening silence about it. Is it an acceptance of it? Is that the new wave?
Yeah, the new norm.
The new norm.
A reflection of the society. Is that a true reflection of the Dominican society? You preceded this statement by talking about the Cadas and so forth. You and I rose up around the same time on the Bells Combo. You had good music, you had clean music, and you still attracted the whole nation. I mean, when you look at Chubby and Coco Sec, in fact, Coco Sec got the top hits. I remember that as a young boy in 1977, 78, the top hits, and I never forget it was. I mean, it attracted poor Coco. You see, and then to see what we have now, and not only that, as a people. The kind of people or the category of people who dance to it, who gyrate, who accept it and even their children, and they would dance and sing with their children. No one will say, well, they can dance to whatever music they want and so on. But isn't it not infecting your child, your young ones coming up? How when they get into age 25 and 30, if we do not seek to minimize the impact that kind of music can have on our people, on our children, what is going to happen in the next decade? If we don't seek to arrest these kinds of things, what is going to happen? Now, the thing is that, okay, you compose, you bring this type of music. If probably it was just staying in your dining room or in your bedroom or under your cellar, that's fine. But it's out there, and when it goes out, surely it will infect.
Absolutely. In our discussion prior to coming here, you were actually at the courts.
Yes.
Dealing with a very serious situation.
Yes, yeah. Well, the courts, this is my natural habitat for many years. I thank the authorities for allowing me to work. In fact, my prosecutorial work started about 1996. I was a young, I was promoted in 1998 as a sergeant, but even as a corporal, I started doing internal little prosecutions, and I just got the knack for it, and get into the courtroom where basically I live. I mean, I worked with several myriad of magistrates, from Ozzy Lewis, the legendary Ozzy Lewis, the Wizard of Oz, Miss Joyner, Mrs. Edwards, Jean Pestina, deceased. We had lay magistrates, Mr. Moise, who were police officers, incidentally. So many, I mean, of course, Gloria Augustus now, the present chief magistrate, so many of them, and of course, different personalities and the way the whole thing. But I think surely the Jamaican magistrates, they stood out. We had another one called Jappy Manuel. I think it was Grenadian, short, if you're about my size, my physique.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a lot of work in the courtroom. We executed the functions as best as we possibly could, even those days. But there's no doubt about it that Mr. Lewis stood out. Absolutely, I thought he was very well balanced. He was and still is a no nonsense person. He wasn't bothered whether you were high, whether you were low, whether you were volatile, whether you were X, Y, Z. He went by the law. He executed by the law. Of course, the discretion comes in, no doubt about it. But he was a father figure on the bench, and especially when the youngsters came in, he really spoke into their lives. I will tell you how important it is to be clean and have high integrity in the courtroom. Many years ago, we were prosecuting a chap, and the bloke was found guilty. And Mr. Lewis asked him, what do you have to say before I sentence you? The guy said, Mr. Lewis, don't forget, I just wash your car for you. So, Mr. Lewis, and that's a lesson for professionals, police officers, magistrates, judges, whoever it is. And you know what Mr. Lewis said to him? Yes, that's a fact. You're washing my car, but don't forget I just give you your long $20. I never forget.
But in, the court system would be a barometer as to some of the ills that we are facing, and you would have a pretty good idea of some of the ills that we are facing in society. And sometimes even putting a deaf ear, a blind eye to, and any of those that concern you?
Well, I mean, the point is the courtroom, in the halls of justice, as I quoted Ecclesiastes for you and tell you that sometimes even in the halls of justice, you don't find justice. What we have to understand is it's man and woman in the institutions, in the systems. And I'm sure the good intention of a human being or group of people in an institution, whether police, wherever it is, surely the intention, given the law and the policies that governs, would be to do well, period. That is it. But on the other hand, too, what you've got to understand, that Adamic nature of man, as it were, that nature of man, is sometimes you'll get the slant, the propensity to shift away from what is right. If we know what to do is right and we do not do it, then we have our conscience to look at. The Bible is clear on it. It tells you that it's a sin. You know. So you have to deal with your God in relation to that. Now, if you are clean and you do it right and you are brutally honest in the execution of your duties, you would also expect difficulties. We must not be surprised by that, you see, because the human nature as it is never looks forward generally to doing things correctly. Okay, let's look at a person who steals, for example. You find a lot of people, a throng of people outside of the court, and they blaming the police and blaming the court for their child who was stolen or who was raped or do this. In other words, why do you have my child in the court knowing that that child has done wrong, or that person has done wrong? There are consequences when we do wrong, Wadics. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And you expect to be dealt with because we have laws and the laws are there to be followed. When it's not followed properly, or you ultra-virus the law, or you feel that you're above the law, you expect the law to speak. You expect the law to bite. But how does the law bite? It's man that has to allow the law to bite. You have the law books there. Yes, the law books are there. They look at you. If nothing is done, let me put it simpler. You have a firearm. It is loaded. Rungs are up in the chamber. Unless you touch that firearm to the trigger, no bullet goes out. Mm-hmm. So it's man who has to make the system work and work well, given what the law says. And if that is not so, what you may find, the society can get chaotic. It will be tumultuous in the society. And what the law helps, the law does not prevent crime, as far as I understand it, and my learnings in the academic rooms that I've been to. It will not arrest crimes, because if laws were arresting crimes and all of the laws and the amendments to the laws as time evolve, well, we'll have no crime. But it just tells you the nature of man. Man will always try to go against the law, and as such, then the
so-called beat the system.
Beat the system. So what the law seeks to help to put the society in order, so that deterrence. So yes, a person is charged with rape, and he's sentenced. Of course, go through what we call the due process. He has a right to an attorney according to our constitution, to consult with his attorney in private, go through the process in the court. Should he be found guilty by the jury or the panel of the jury's people, the judge then hands down sentence. But then when you look at sentence in terms of the punishment, because people always believe the police punishes people. The police ought not to be punishing people. The police ought to investigate, get involved, probe, develop a probe, you investigate, and then you get it to the courtroom. You go through the process. Punishment is handed down. And of course, with a view for deterrence, because let's assume the person is incarcerated. You want to have rehabilitative measures, remedial measures at the state penitentiary. You want to have that so that the person can be restored and restituted and rehabilitated. So when they get out, they would be a better person. But sometimes in the society that we are in today, even when that man may be rehabilitated, restored at the prisons. I remember one clear example, a guy who, basically a known recidivist, and he was, but they helped him a lot. That's many years ago at the prison, and he seemed to have been redeemed. Some people thought that he was irredeemable, but with God all things are possible. And he got employed as a yard boy and so on. And another, the neighbor of that person was a call person, you don't know who you have there, no? You don't know who you have in your yard there cleaning, a jailbird way. The guy was fired instantly. The guy was
that stigma
is labeled, is stigmatized. So we're not disputing the fact that yes, he's committed offenses, he's been convicted, he's been institutionalized or incarcerated. But at the end of the day, because he worked a few weeks with the person and there wasn't any problem, You see, it doesn't say perhaps there might not have been a problem lower down, but let's give him a chance. Who among us is perfect? You remember the woman who was caught in adultery? And all of the Pharisees and the big boatiers came and said, look, man, we caught her, man. Look, we caught her. What must we do? You remember the word well? And then Jesus said, well, man, if you have no sin, those of you who have fired the first stone, let God put you yes. But however, there was a prohibition in relation to the woman. Remember, he also told her, go and sin no more. So, I mean, you've got to speak, especially our young people, speak into their lives, deposit good seeds, valuable seeds. And I'm sure along the way, if they get the necessary help, the community, of course, family, and sometimes when guys go to prison or if they behave deviantly or children behave deviantly, they're also neglected because you find that family doesn't want to have anything to do with that child. Then the frustration comes, so suicide can come, continued the perpetuation of crime, drug trafficking, prostitution, so many things. We can destroy our own people sometimes too. And given what you asked me earlier on, when families or people's progress are stultified in the organization, whether unjustly or so forth, what you find, productivity can go down as well. You see, yes, I encourage us to continue to work, but every human being is different. So you feel that the morale, but as I always encourage people, you just work as unto the Lord. He has blessed you with the health. It's not man who blessed you with health, not man. It's God who bless you with health. He bless you with the wisdom. He bless you with the knowledge. He give you the aptitude to learn and to do things. He gave you the gifts. So you go out there and you work pleasingly as unto him and forget about the external or internal stimuli.
Absolutely. This is Creole Heartbeat, ASP Weeks with us with the kind compliments of Digicel. By the way, Digicel will be having its last March Madness draw taking place at 2 o'clock this afternoon at the Astor Fans Complex. It's just about 11:35. We are now going to open the lines. Yep. And the reason for that is we want to give people an opportunity, in as much you'll be living in the next quarter, over the last quarter, to, congratulate you for the work that you have done so far. We want to open the lines and allow people to interact with us. But in the meantime, the level of acceptance of mediocrity in our nation is appalling.
Yeah, well, you see, I remember even before going into the world of work, so we take it from school coming up, let's get into the secondary school. Well, even kindergarten, but the secondary school. I mean, everything was so structured. It doesn't say structures and there, but it's as if people are digressing, as if we don't care. Only yesterday, a few of us professionals were just having a casual talk over a drink, and we'll just saying, for example, someone comes from the north, maybe Doden somewhere, and comes for maybe a document or so on, and we're so casual, the person, especially if it's an elderly, you know what I'm saying, and the person, nobody cares, and probably it's just one piece of document. So if we can help our fellow man, bearing in mind you are in a position of trust, you are in a position to assist, why not assist? We should be tongue in deaf, and that goes right across the board. Not only police. You ask a general question. I think it's just lackadaisical. We're not bothered. We think that we can do what we ought not to think that way, but to assist.
Okay. Good morning, ASP Rex. Good morning.
Leroy, Wadico, Swiftly, Stocking Car. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning to you, Emil. Well, you added that. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Caldwick.
Comrade, how are you, my countryman? How do you do?
Boy, I good to go. Living 1 second at a time, my
brilliant,
brother.
Brilliant.
Yes, man. I really just want to call the big up my brother. As you see, call me comrade, and I've gone back a long way from time of DCP. And I know that man from a very, very long time. I know what that man gone through. And I felt so happy when he mentioned Mr. Son name. And I have my reasons why, because, while everybody, ridiculed his mother, Mr. Son never ridiculed his mother. He stayed there, and be part of their life. And this is a man we have to big up big time. Because he never watch what he was saying or taking what he was saying. He was there. And I'm very happy for that. But Claude, I just want to really congratulate you on your achievement. I know what you've been through. You and I worked DCP for a long time together. For the short time you were at DCP, we were really good buddies. But I just want to big you up and wish you all the best. All right, my brother.
Yes, thanks a lot, Emil. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, and Claude.
Yes, comrade.
Claude.
Yeah.
You can remember your first ride you buy?
My first ride was a bicycle, and my first pay packet. You were the supervisor on the line. My first pay packet. Remember those packet that had holes, little holes. It was $79.04, and then I ran up to Leroy because I didn't know nothing about money.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Another caller for ASP Rickson. Good morning, Creole Habit.
Good morning, Mr. Wadico.
Good morning to you, my dear.
And good morning, Mr. Claude.
Hey, what's up?
Tell Mr. Vic, I am proud of you because I am one of the persons that you saved me in life. I had a boy by the name of Albanachi Akide, and he's in Portugal making his books. And I can remember he came one time in the police station. I came to the police station to warn with him. Okay, he take the police boat and he go and fish. You said to me, you and Cook said to me, don't leave the boy alone because maybe that's what you want to do. And I tell you to lock him in his cell so that I could be a little baby. And that was just a hard time. He was running away from school at the age of 12. But he told me to leave the boy alone. And I walk. Today I'm proud of my son. But I want to tell you, you gave me some advice and you talked to me. You were young, maybe in the, maybe, I don't know if it's in the boat thing or whatever it is. And you did help me with Prince from Grandfather.
Yep.
And the cook and some other policemen did help me.
That's a long time ago. That's a very long time. Yeah.
My mother was CTA.
Yes.
And I want to say, you are doing a good job.
Yeah,
but I want to say to you, with Jeremiah 29,
yes,
11.
Yes.
God
He has good plans for me. That's right.
Not a plan to harm you.
Yes.
But a plan to bring you prosperity, a future, and a hope.
Yes.
And no matter where they send you, up, down, you are there to fill it. I think that right now your time now is to do evangelical work for God.
Thank you,
sister. You have to stay Jamaica. God bless you. God bless everybody.
You. God bless you.
Yes. You're my friend too.
Yeah, thanks a lot, my dear.
You help my nephew. Ronald Cookshank is in Haiti.
Of course,
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bless you too. You know what? The thing about it is, with all of these accolades or the sweet talks, to tell you the truth, I operate like what John the Baptist said, may the Lord increase while I decrease. I really give the Creator all the credit. Even what I told you from last week and where I came from to where I am today, really and truly, but for the grace of God. So I do not take, in other words, I don't beat my chest. I remain wrapped in the cup of humility.
Okay, someone just sent us a special question for you. Police using violence while detaining perpetrators, especially those who are perceived as ghetto or poor.
Yeah, well, to this question, it's no strange question. It reminds me when I used to be the PRO for the force and answering all these questions all the time. Listen, Wadico, the law is clear. We're governed the same way the general citizenry is governed by law. So too, we as a police, we are governed by the very same laws. And indeed, we have our own laws, CAP 1401 and the other Police Service Commission regulations, etc., etc. The police has a right to use force according to the law if it is deemed as being necessary. And of course, proportionate to what the police face. This has to be a decision to be made by the police. We ought not to use excessive force. Sometimes the word excessive, if you go deeper from an academic standpoint, it might be relative. What one person touch might be excessive for one person, and whereas a thump might not be excessive. And this indeed can be determined by the court if we abuse our power, and more so physically. When anyone is brought in for investigations, whether from the ghetto, and I said so last week, and my friend, whoever sent it, we must really understand it's not only ghetto people committing crime. all types of people commit crime. The police, in a nutshell, ought not to be using any or abusing their power during any course of investigations.
Okay, we have another caller. Good morning to you, Creole Heartbeat for ASP Wicks.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me get away from my radio because it's going to be an echo.
Okay, no problem. This is Creole Heartbeat, and we are live with ASP Wicks. And
let me first say thank you, Wadico, for this splendid show.
Thank you very much.
Because had it not been for you, we probably wouldn't have the opportunity to talk to this distinguished gentleman.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you will.
Hi, good morning, my friend.
Claude.
Hi.
Do you know how you pick up the voice?
It sounds like Tony.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while, man.
Here we go. Williams. Let's go. Let's go on. I pick it up.
Oh my God. Hey, Rick, man.
Hi.
I mean, there's so much to say about you, man. But let me just give my personal story, okay? Because I ain't gonna watch them on the radio. What I would like you to elaborate on is the fact that you have the ability to change young people's lives, man. You impacted young men in Nassac, people like me that used to be a coward on the street. And had it not been for you and Carlton and those guys who did the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
I need you to talk about that, Wicks, because that changed my life, man. That put me on a course on the right path, not only on towards the police service, but also in school as well. And today I am up here in America, and I'm in a good place. And your leadership, your discipline, even in the police force, and I had the opportunity to work with you as well. I mean, you never change. And your leadership qualities, I mean, again, the discipline, I took that with me, and I have it with me today. And it's because of that, for people like you and Tyrants, because you guys instilled that stuff in me from young. It stayed with me, and today I'm in a good place. And I really, really and truly would like you, although you had your struggles, man. Although you had your struggles, you were still able to see the need of young men like me and cause our lives to be changed in the future. And before I leave, I just want to say about the police service. Look, I know I left a good service, man. The police force was one of the best places I've ever worked. I work with good men and women, and I know that the core of the police service is still, the core of the service are still there. The men and women are still there. And as you're about to leave, my question for you is, is it going to be in a good place? What is going to become of the police service?
Yeah.
Because without the police service, without the security, our country is nothing. So again, I just want to thank you, and I hope that you get a very, very good send-off, man. All right? God bless. I'll take your comments off the air.
Yeah. Thank you very much, caller.
Well, I mean, he asked a thought-provoking question as to the service. Well, I mean, as I said last week, I mean, over all the years, let me capture 40-plus years of service. In fact, the oldest service policeman or in service is Inspector Jefferson Roll from Loda. He'll be 41 in October. Yeah,
so you're the second.
So about 6 of us, 40 will be 40 years plus. But the point is, as time moves on, people change, institutions change, and as such, I believe the police force is a good place. It's an honorable place. Institutions are honorable. They're set up. They're structured to hold up the society. But at the end of the day, as I said earlier on, is the legacy. What is it? So when people like Mr. Philip left and Mr. Blanchard and his team and Mr. Daru, my neighbor, Mr. Simon Daru, and these people, Mr. Alfred, the young sergeant up in the UK, and people like Melchior Fontaine, kind of left earlier enough. It's the legacy, and that ought to be the stepping stone, the platform for those who are behind to follow. That is what it is. You have that platform. They did that. Maybe you could do even better. You could have better exploits than the present who are there and not have it indeed.
Okay, good morning, Creole Heartbeat for ASP Wicks.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
to you, sir, and good morning to Honorable Week.
Good morning. Good morning, ma'am.
And how are you, sir?
Giving thanks.
And how is the wife?
Yeah, solid.
Okay, these are my two wonderful people, your wife and yourself. Maybe you don't know me by voice, but I know you. And you're supposed to, if you see me, you know me.
Right.
Wonderful program. And I just wish other policemen could take that role that you are playing right now so that they could come on the radio and educate young people.
Yeah.
And even some of them, that is the older ones, to educate the young ones. Because I know to myself that you have done a good job. Hip, hooray for you.
May God be glorified, my sister. I take no credit. I'm just thankful that I can continue to make a contribution. And as I said, if the Lord wills, if He permits, to continue in service to this nation.
You're also a family man and
Yeah.
a very strong wife.
Yeah.
And that's Delia.
Yeah.
Tell us about ASP
Family.
weeks outside of the police and the evangelical circles.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, like everything else, as I told you when I was up, I am this outgoing guy, approachable, affable, you know, love people. I think this is how God wired me, and I have two children who are in the UK. The first family life didn't work as it ought to have worked. You know, we normally say when we're young, we might be stupid. You think that you are it, and you know that kind of thing. Mistakes are being made. When mistakes are made, people always, you know, jump and condemn, and sometimes even aided and abetted by people who ought to know better. And even in all of this, I just decided I have to continue to survive and maintain that Rottweiler pit bulldog determination to survive in the land of the living. And then, well, Delia, as you know, woman from the South, a Granby woman, a natural woman at that, and we have similarities. We understand our nation, the culture of our nation, and it's about making a teamwork as a husband and wife, because this is what it is about. Everybody has their gifts, and don't think she too equally, we can say, has been suppressed. People spectacularly misconstrue her good intentions, but it's all about for development of the state. And if we as a people can learn to respect each other, whether even if our political differences are there, religious, social, what is important, we ought not to be killing each other because I don't agree with you. And this is what is commonplace in Dominica today. If you're not by that side, or if you're not this, then you will be suppressed, you will be kicked, you will be held back, your progress will be stultified, your character will be besmirched and assassinated, and you'll be reduced to rubble and nothingness. You're doing your fellow man that. What do you get out of it? Well, let me just remind you, if you hope to get anything out of it, it will just be at the end of the rope. We don't do that. We need to look out for each other.
Okay, good morning. Another caller for ASP Weeks on Creole Heartbeat.
Yes, Wadico. Good morning, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you very much, sir.
Good. Wadico, I just want to make one criticism of you. I'm not hitting you hard. I'm just noticing something that you said a while ago when you talk about the nasty business, the flatness that pervades the society now in the music. And I want to say to people that you are not knocking bouillon music. So, because you have to be clear. So when you make certain statements on the radio, sometimes people misconstrue what you say. So you have to make it clear. You are not knocking bouillon music. You are knocking what is not too acceptable in a decent society. And you also implicated the women as one of the leaders in carrying that stuff, because they gyrate to it and whatever else they do. So what if, in your defense, let me say this. You are not knocking bouillon, and you are not just singling out the women, but the one most responsible for that are the people who put it out, who should have a better understanding of what music and culture is, because these things carry into the future, And like Mr. Weeks said, people emulate this thing and they carry it on. And next thing you know, it's gone too far. And we're down in the doldrums and we can't return. It takes a lot to come back to where we are. Now, for Mr. Weeks, I have one question for you, Mr. Weeks. Being that you're a police officer for the last 40 years, like you say, you got your working papers, and you know where the place is right now, judicially, in the judicial system, and the abuse of some so-called police officers, because how some of these people act and treat their people on the street is not the work of a police officer. Some of them are not officers like we would like to call them. They are just as bad as the criminal on the street or the so-called criminals. So I want to know, what is your assessment, Mr. Weeks, of the future of the country, how you see and how you hope it would be, that the abuse stops and all this crookedness that we see now, white collar crime, the lack of decent judicial system where people don't get a fair shake in the law and cases going down the road for 6-7 years. Give me a thing of how you see. I'm listening. Wadico, thanks for having Mr. Weeks. It's a great interview. I listened last week. I'm listening this week, and it's very, very nice one. Thank you, Mr. Weeks. Thank you, Wadico.
Okay, God bless you, my brother. God bless you.
To answer the comrade question, I put down something last evening. I was prepared for the program, and he's a part member of the public, and I've always in my career look at the public expectations of the police. It's very, very high. You may even want to deem it as unreasonable in the circumstances. But again, the public always demands the best from the police. I made a point last week. I'm not sure if our citizenry, the entire citizenry, like for example in the UK or the US, these places where they love their soldiers, they love their policemen. Of course, when they do wrong or we go ultra virus, the law, we abuse, you expect the system to work because the police ought to be above reproach. We in other words, we cannot govern the public or arrest the public for X, Y, and Z, and we ourselves doing it, period. We have to be above reproach. And if because we too form part of the citizenry, we are just a police force, a microcosm of that. I've always said that the public is the police. So I put that together, and I'm coming from a former chief outside of this jurisdiction. The citizen expects police officers to have the wisdom of Solomon, the courage of David, the strength of Samson, and you read in our Bible, Wadico, the patience of Job. We know the blows that Job got. So they're saying that a police should be like that. The leadership of Moses, moving about 3 to 4 million people under trying circumstances. The very same people turned against him when he went for the 2 tablets, the commandments. They turned and they said, well, Moses is not coming after 40 days and 40 nights. And they weren't patient at all, and they built the calf after God has blessed them. All what God gave them, they put it into idolatry. But indeed, many of them died that same time because they faced the wrath of God, although David interceded on their behalf. The leadership of Moses, the kindness of the Good Samaritan, the police must exercise that. The strategical training of Alexander, the faith of Daniel, and you know of Daniel and the Hebrew brothers, the diplomacy of Lincoln, who was, I think.
Let's see if we can take our final caller. Good morning to the Creole Heartbeat for ASP Weeks.
Morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
And morning to Mr.
I think we lost you. That sounded a little like a bosso. You could call back, sir. No problem. We just have a few more minutes here.
Well, comrade, I need to get it. The caller before the last. So that will encapsulate what is it. The citizen expects police officers to have the wisdom of Solomon, the courage of David, the strength of Samson, the courage, the patience of Job, the leadership of Moses, the kindness of the Good Samaritan, the strategical training of Alexander, the faith of Daniel, the diplomacy of Lincoln, who was the president, the tolerance of the carpenter of Nazareth, tolerance, and finally, that's important there, tolerance, so you know, with people, and finally, an intimate knowledge of every branch of natural, biological, and social sciences. And if the policeman, if we, all of us, if we have all of these, Look at that. We might be a good policeman. So the expectation.
Let's see if we get a caller, because I wanted to find out whether you feel, in your opinion, we have fallen short. Good morning to you, Creole Heartbeat for ASP Weeks.
Good morning, Creole.
Creole
Week.
Yes, good morning.
No joke to give you today, but just telling you, good luck, job well done. We continue loving you. Don't forget we love you. Nice joke. Good morning, family.
Good morning, family. Just before we leave, have you, in your opinion, have the police fell short of those principles generally? I mean, within your opinion, and when you look back, finally, then and now, it's a kind of related question to what they call ask. Is the police really going to be in good hands when you guys leave? I mean,
we don't know.
Stalwarts.
Yeah, we don't know what the future holds. Only God who knows the future. What has to be expected of the police is to continue to operate within the laws that govern the police and indeed the policies, and the main intent, because the remit of the police department, any police department for this matter, is always the prevention of crime, the protection of the people, the investigations of crime, the arrests of offenders, the prosecution of offenders, and then of course the penal part of it, well, in terms of punishment.
Let's see if we could take in our final caller. Good morning to you, Creole Heartbeat. Good morning, Creole Heartbeat.
Yes, I called a while ago. My phone caught. I know what happened. Cut off.
Okay.
But anyway, I know you haven't got much time, so I just want to wish Inspector Claude.
ASP.
ASP. Well, I think he earned the title of inspector. He earned the title, so I'm calling him inspector. No ASP.
That is the only title he earned. He didn't earn anything further than that.
I couldn't even call him commissioner because he owned that. Too long ASP. But anyway, I just want to wish you well and just say to you, I mean, I know you're a man who has taken your work seriously and you have applied yourself quite eloquently on behalf of the country, and we need to commend you highly on that. I don't say much because I have a lot to say, but the time is limited. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, boss. So my boss is another guy who was at DCP. In fact, he was my supervisor
at DCP.
Yeah, he's making boxes. So he's the one that gave me my $79 and change.
But as we wind down, I mean, comrade, I am really happy and delighted to have known you, and the exemplary work you have done as a true statesman, as a true police officer. We know you'll be leaving very soon, and let's hope that the example that people like you have actually laid down the foundation of a good, professional, dedicated police officer. Let's hope that it can spread throughout the police force for future. And let's hope that any semblance of what the actual caller talked about or spoke about earlier, where there is some preferential treatment or where the poor may malheureux toujours qu'à souffrir plus, or malhandled or mishandled than the white collar, let's say, crime. Yeah. Let's hope that any semblance of that can be deleted, stamped out, can really come out of our system. We know we are challenged because we have been seeing quite a bit of television where lots of our ideas come from the invasion of American television. But the police is there for our security, for us, and they are part of us. And let's hope that they can continue in good stead for years and years to come to secure Dominica as truly the greatest country on the face of the earth.
Indeed. Finally, I would say there's no way the police can operate alone. The police and public, there must be synergies where we have to work together, because I like to say the police, the public is really the entire police force. Of course, there's the culture of the loud silence in the society. If we want our country to minimize the impact of crime, because no matter what you do in life, you will always have crime, because as I told you earlier on, the genesis of the program is the nature of man, as it were. But it has to be police, of course, effectively. It has to be police fairly, equitably within the laws. No discrimination. Our constitution is clear on this. But at the end of the day, if we work together, The police and the public ought not to and cannot be and should not be enemies. Where the public cannot do without police and the police cannot do without public. The same person or people who may hate the police and want to destroy the police, today or tomorrow somebody might well seek to destroy you. Who do you go to? Do you take the let's say the Zil or Ferry, Val Ferry, and go to Guadeloupe and get police and come there to do it? No, we are here. We're all Dominicans, and we have to work together, understand ourselves. I will also say equally that we as police officers, we are not above the law. We have to be above reproach so that the confidence can filter down into the public and say, well, yes, we could get that done. So yes, mistakes will be made. There's always room for improvement. But at the end of the day, what is important is if we can work together, we can respect the mutual respect, we can honor each other, love each other as a nation, and we'll see light at the end of the tunnel. I have no doubt in it. And Wadico, I can tell you, the Dominican people, I have served, like my colleagues who are living at the last quarter of the year, they have served excellently well as well. Some of them, of course, in lower rank than I am, but they worked well. They work well without any bitterness or remorse or rancor in their hearts, and they've served well. We look forward to continuing to serve in our land in whatever way, in whatever field that we can do, because Dominica is ours to build.
Thank you very much, ASP Wicks, and may God continue to richly bless you. Let's hope that we could really touch the hearts of the people out there and educate them as to the responsibilities, objectives of the police officer, and even evangelize, even, educate the message, bring out the message of true people and police working together. And I hope your message really resonated with the people out there. May God bless you, my brother.
May God bless you.
And as you end your final moments at the police force, we really hope that the future looks really bright for you. Take it easy, my brother.
Yeah, God bless you and God bless Dominica.
Thank you on behalf of Mr. Sheridan Gregoire, QFM family, DJ Slim Kimberly, DJ Cell. See you at 2 o'clock at the Astafans for the finals. Prince Wadico, may God bless you and may God bless Dominica.
Time waits at no man, whether you're great or small.